the abstruse land of Aru, full of regal countrysides and rayless forests.
Miss me!
The once halcyon days now gone.
Your hand is mine now. What? Get him out of here.
And people resolved to lives separated from each other.
We all know how dangerous the magic can be. It's best the child comes with us.
A prophecy passed down, followed by believers.
You're a prophecy hunter.
It has to be part of something bigger. If I let myself think they died for nothing.
Will set forth the path for the one.
I had a dream. I was the chosen one. I saw myself saving everyone.
Of course you did.
Leading the land of Aru back to its days of yore.
Fire!
What are you doing?
I'll kill you! We'll never survive!
Linus, trust me.
Mother!
Carcerem the series, premiering September 22nd, 2020.
Nerd On the Podcast is proudly partnered with Apogee Electronics and Odyssey Headphones, leaders in the field of audio.
My whole thing of producing is, I don't know, do you guys want to do this even?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but by golly gee, you deserve this spicy, long-winded, semi-liquor fueled episode. Where all levels of nerd are welcome.
Yeah.
All levels of sobriety are also welcome.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're gonna jump right into introducing the host for the episode. My name is Tom.
Caitlin.
I'm Corey.
And I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon.
Patreon.
As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get all sorts of fun perks, like you get early access to these episodes. You get bonus episodes that nobody else hears but you. You do get access to secret channels on our Discord that isn't as secret anymore. It is open to the public and it's growing all the time, which is really fantastic.
But there are secret channels in there that you
there are
can
secret channels.
You do get that
Just
Nerd On
for you.
nudge.
And you get the Nerd On Nudge for
you get that
our
Guess That
weekly
Grump
update. Yep. Yeah, there's lots of really fun exclusives that you get.
You get to be in the show.
Yeah, exactly. We shout out our Nerd On Nation members individually sometimes,
All the
so
time.
it's a good time.
If you get the grump right, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But we've shouted them out when they send in questions. But do check that out. Nerdon.tv.
Shout out to the night.
Check that out. Nerdon.tv/Patreon and check out the
Discord server.
The website.
The Discord. Nerdon.tv/a Discord. Check that out. And also a huge shout out to our partners, Apogee Electronics, who have equipped us with these amazing microphones. The Hype Mic, can't speak highly enough about them. They are also, not only do they make great products, they're a great company. They're, the mentality that they have and the way that they run business has really been quite a breath of fresh air, and we dig them a lot. And check out Odyssey headphones. Like we always say, if your ears were mouths, they'd taste like butter. They do taste that good. They do sound that good. As we've said before, even using them to play video games or edit with, they're quite wonderful. But yeah, check them out. Apogee and Odyssey. And that, my friends, is the housekeeping.
Yes, that is. And so I think we're past a minute. Are y'all ready, you motherfuckers? This is a lit episode, and I hope you're excited. I don't know, man.
He just wanted to cuss past the minute part.
I know.
That's all he wanted to do.
We've always tried to
we're excited. Let's go talk to Bill and Shane.
Well, no, Kayla. I have this whole thing. You just go right into it.
Bulldozed.
But I mean, that's pretty much it.
I appreciate that. Respect it.
But yes, no, we are very excited. As Jeff Nimoy said in multiple times, you go where the work is. And here in LA, it's very common that you run into somebody you eventually loved the work that they did in. And today we are talking with two individuals who are working on an upcoming audio series that we are, very excited about, and we're hoping you will too. And even some of us on the team today are working on in some form or fashion. We have first Shane Salk, the creator of We're Alive, A Story of Survival, and the radio drama adaptation of Christmas Story, along with Bill Holmes, aka William Holmes, for the IMDb credits. Who is the co-creator, founder of the award-winning LA-based production and Post House Compost Productions, who has worked with the talents and likeliness, and also gotten us some of the, helped us get some of the guests on the show that we love and that you love too.
He is
good connections.
woven into
Good
the
people.
Nerd On world.
Yeah. And it's probably the person that Kaylin cares about the most on this episode. So, without further ado,
Shane
everyone.
They are here to talk about their new audio series, Carcerem. Let's get into it. Let's talk to Bill and Shane.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bill and Shane, for joining us. Man, there's so much banner behind in the digital green room. So we have both of you, and it's a pretty special occasion. We're bringing you guys in because you guys are launching Carcerem, the series, soon September 22nd, 2020. Woo! Woo! Big deal, big stuff. But I think it's going to be more conducive for our audience and as other people to get to know who you guys are beforehand. So we're gonna pick your brains. We're gonna ask more about you. A couple of some of us, but we wanted to talk about you guys. So how Shane, who wants to go? I mean, Bill, Shane,
No,
both you guys
Shane first. Shane,
How you want to
Shane.
do this, Tom?
Wait,
Where are
I
you going
know.
with this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how. So it's funny because I want to just give
Bill.
Well,
I know,
here's
right?
the thing. I mean, Shane thought of this whole damn thing. This is his idea. This is his baby. You go with Shane first. And I'll just
But yeah,
give
you're
color
the
commentary.
but you're the one that tells me what to do all the time, Bill. So that's why.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
And
fair.
Bill just likes to have that on record, so if
Yeah.
it all goes to hell, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Let's start it off easy. How's the quarantine been treating you guys?
Yes.
How's being locked
well,
indoors
I
going?
mean, we've got tequila and whiskey in hand, so we're doing fine.
I mean,
Is it the
that's
Fortaleza?
it is Fortaleza.
We
yeah.
haven't seen anybody else besides the two of us in quite a while, for
Yeah.
the most part. Anybody that's within the Carcerem family.
Yeah.
I live 2 blocks away, so I walk to work, which is nice.
Yeah, it's right. The quarantine has kind of affected our production in the respect that we started this thing with a full crew of script supervisors and production assistants and production coordinator, and now it's basically 2 guys in a cave trying to get through this as best we can. So
It's like
Accurate.
Castaway with another person.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he is Wilson, by the way.
Yeah. I have
Yep.
more than
Yep.
once have I come in with blood on my face.
Yeah, that's weird.
So much blood. So interestingly enough, some of us here are working on said project, and we thought it would
Brilliantly.
be very
More than half of us.
we thought it'd be very logical to bring you guys on so we can get that Pottern family. We're always very big on sharing
Is caring.
our communities and stuff like that. But interesting, like
appreciate
I didn't get introduced to both of you until Corey. Corey and his lovely wife, introduced me to both of you. But Shane, I actually had known about some of your work a long time before this, with We're Alive, and then now working on a new project. That's only thing I could hear about Bill is saying is like, oh, you like that? You're gonna love this one. I mean, I censored it a little bit, but
Yeah. Well, here, Tom, I have something for you because I knew we were doing this today.
Yes.
And I knew you were a big fan. I've actually brought you the next time I see you. This is the original box set of We're Alive Season 1 that we put out before we had distribution. So
Whoa.
we personally made these. It's pretty shittily put together.
Wait, actually, there's videos of my children in there too.
Oh,
Pretty much.
nice.
Yeah.
But it is 12 of the discs. It has the original creators, all of our original artwork, the original.
Wow.
This is the
Tom.
first box set we ever had.
Oh my
awesome.
god.
So that's here for
Fancy.
you the next time I see you.
That's all. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and let's
very
see.
sweet.
It's number
Log number 461.
461. I don't
Wow.
honestly know how many we made.
Hey,
but
your name's on it.
my name?
Yeah, look at
Oh
that.
shit.
But see, yeah, I mean, like, it was very interesting when I heard about like Dana saying, "I have a friend named Shane Salk." I was like, And she's like, I think it's the guy that you've been listening to. I was like, nah, that can't be. And then going to the Renaissance Fair and then meeting you then. And then I got first time like a little like starstruck. I was just like, oh my God, I've been listening to your shit like every day going to work. And then now I get to meet you. And then you're just like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Moment's over.
I really, not to throw it, I really just wanted a turkey leg. That's
well, but also,
and that's why you go to a Renaissance Fair.
I wanted to be drunk and eating a turkey leg.
I was going to say, all the wenches.
Mission accomplished. I remember-ish that day.
All the wenches pouring us drinks and all this stuff was phenomenal.
I still have my mug. I have it in my house. It's one of the only things on a shelf. It has a tree of wisdom on it, and I brought it. I think I brought it to the one the next year, too.
Yeah, you did. I missed the Renaissance Fair now.
I just need to get a sword now. That's my goal.
Yep.
And then Bill, who is, famously worldwide known for Stump the Band. If you haven't watched it, people at home.
It's true. It is true.
If you haven't watched it at home, everyone, what are you doing with your life? I don't know.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's listen, Stump the Band. You can download it for free all over the world.
Wow.
There you go. Baby. Worldwide distribution.
Now don't let them trick you. There are foot fetish websites that post it.
Yeah.
There's a drinking game associated with it. Yeah. There were lawsuits about it.
Wow.
Let me just say, Stump the Band is I'll give you the pitch real quick so the kids out there know. It's 4 hot chicks in a punk rock band. And they get lost in the wilds of Wisconsin, as women are apt to do. And there's a guy out there with a very serious foot fetish, and he likes to catch these girls and cut their feet off and collect them like baseball cards. And of course, it's called Stump the Band. So that's what it's all about.
Now,
it's a fun.
It's all coming together.
For everybody that's at least 10 years older than me and younger who don't get the reference, Stump the Band was a bit that Johnny Carson did, right?
Yeah, and before
Johnny Carson. So it's a pun on the title, which makes it even
a little
funnier.
meta.
Yeah. Well, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Robbie Wrist,
Shout out.
a Ninja Turtle, and Cousin Oliver, and all those people. Robbie Wrist brought me that, Snuffy, the dragon on Doc McStuffins. Robbie Wrist brought me that project, so that again, I wouldn't write this shit. I'm just telling you. I just put it together and we put it out there. And it's fun. It's fun. We're cutting up naked chicks out in the woods.
It's
and then they're making
after
the movie.
having seen the film, I can say that it is an experience worth having.
Did you watch it by yourself or did you watch it during a screening?
I actually watched it at the studio with a group of people for Halloween. With Bill.
I think Tom and I have to play the drinking game.
I want Bill there for director commentary.
You gotta find it. I don't even know what the drinking game is.
Let's do a Twitch live thing. I'll drink. Sure. I'll do the drinking game with you guys.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
All right, we'll do it.
I'll tell you,
here
it
first.
was very fun. We worked on that film for about 2 years. It took us. We had a very, very tiny budget, and everybody said, well, you have to make the film, at one location with that kind of a budget. And we were like, I don't think so. We're going to go to Chicago. We'll have 21 locations, and we'll go make a movie,
Oh, my Lord.
And it was a lot of fun. But we did do a screening when we first came back to L.A. when we had it all done in South Pasadena at the Rialto Theater.
That's important.
South Pass. It was. Because it was this old theater. It was this old theater with old seats, and everybody's in, and it was the perfect theater for this type of film. And we rented the theater, and we just invited about 400 people that came, and we sold popcorn, and everybody reacted exactly the way we wanted them to react. It was a lot of fun.
And they made more money selling popcorn than they did on the movie, right?
We got in a bit of a dispute with the distributors, and let's just say I own the film, and the discs you can still get on Netflix, the DVD disc, and they make great coasters.
So be careful what distributors you talk to. When you
I want to just for our viewers or listeners, I want to take it back just quite a little bit. I'll start with Bill here. I want to know how you went from living on a farm to becoming the VO doctor. I believe you did cat shows, if I'm not mistaken, show cats and stuff like that. Could you just tell us how the evolution of that went.
Well, I was a poor sodbuster back in Gurnee, Illinois, and I grew up on a horse farm. I started my acting career in high school. In fact, I think you guys have talked to Neil Flynn, or you're gonna talk to Neil Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
Has he been on your show?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I think
Spoilers.
he's going to be on your show. So
NDA.
Yeah. So I went to high school in this very small town, but oddly enough, this high school of about only 1,200 students total in the whole high school. There's a huge handful of us. Is that a huge handful?
It's a handful, but they're bigger hands. It's like
I was going to say
hundreds and
proportionally to
Shack
1,200
hands.
students,
Within that area, we all went into the entertainment business in some fashion. Some are like Mike Kaplan is a big-time weatherman back in Chicago on Fox. We went
Shout out.
to Kevin Anderson. If you've ever seen Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts, he plays the young good guy in that movie, and he's had a wonderful career on Broadway and everything, and still has. And so anyway, there was a bunch of people that came out of that area that went on to start acting, and I started my career in Chicago at the Goodman School of Drama, which is a very prestigious acting school in Chicago, which is now at DePaul University. I think it's DePaul University School of Acting. And I was on the one-year plan. They threw my sorry ass out of that school and said, please don't ever do this. And
You tried to sell too much popcorn.
Well, the thing is, I was too stupid to know any better. And so I just moved to Chicago from the farm, and I just started acting in theater and comedy and improv and everything that Chicago has to offer. It's for all you kids out there thinking of a career in acting, Chicago's a great town to be in. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing commercials and voiceovers like all young actors do. And when I came to LA, I had a fine acting career out here. I did some television. I did mostly commercials and voiceover. I started the voiceover out here, and from that, it just kind of gravitated into. I started directing more voiceover at a place, one of the major casting places out here in LA, and from that, I started teaching, and from the teaching, I became the voiceover doctor. And that's how we get to where we are.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. But for the most part, I've been producing and directing for the last probably 20 years of my career, as well as acting. I'm still. I was going to say acting.
You have some roles on some of my favorite shows, like Rick and Morty, and in some of my favorite games. Yeah,
very lucky to have gotten and again I was really lucky to get on the episodes I got on. Because they seem to be really popular.
They are
popular episodes of that show, and I'm also on the cards, the trading cards too. Yeah, I got to sign cards. I think that's the coolest thing I've done in my career is I get to sign cards, and a lot of people don't know this. I also appeared on the Dr. Demento show. I wrote an original song with a guy named Steve Atinsky. And we appeared on the Dr. Demento.
I didn't know that. That's a huge deal for me. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Demento.
Yeah.
Huge fan. I'm going to have to look that up later.
Yeah.
What was the song called?
It's called Dr. Death and the Suicide Machine. It was a song about Jack Kevorkian at the time.
Wow.
We produced a show here in LA called, my company's name is Compost Productions. And we produced a show called Mulch Ado About Nothing. And
brilliant.
It was a comedy improv show with original music. And at the time, I was with one of the bigger voiceover agents at the time. His name was Don Pitts. And Don, had represented, Mel Blanc and people like that. And Don was friends with Dr. Demento. And he heard my song, and and Don Pitts, he talked like this. He was a little guy, and he said, "Oh, Bill, that's a very funny song. I'm going to call the doctor. Would you like to be on the doctor show?" And I'm like, in high school, Dr. Demento was everything to me.
Yeah,
my girlfriend and I listened to Dr. Demento all the time, and I was like, yes, I'd love to be on the doctor show. And there was a day in my career when Dr. Demento called my house. He called the house. And I'm on the phone, and I'm looking at my wife, and he's like, Bill, make sure to listen to the show tonight. We're going to play your song. And I'm looking at my wife, Dr. show. The doctor, you know. And I was so excited to be on that show. I don't know if the song took off. I don't think it took off, and it's not one of the big Dr. Demento songs. But
That's a cool.
But to be
huge-
involved with
very
something
cool.
that you cared about is very cool.
In my own high school career, I had the discs of like the best of Dr. Dementos that I would listen to over and over again. So,
well, back in the day, I did comedy as a comedy team with a guy named Lou Schneider, and then with Neil Flynn and another guy named Chip Hammock over the years. And back in the day, we used to middle or open for a guy named Tim Cavanaugh. And if you know Tim Cavanaugh's career, he is on all those discs you have. Corey. He had a lot of songs on Dr. Demento. He was like a singing guitar comic back in the Midwest. And he's still, I think it's Picklehead Productions or something.
Deep Cuts.
It's Tim Cavanaugh. But he did 99
Nine Dead Baboons.
Dead Baboons. That's Tim
Yeah.
I used to do comedy with Tim.
Shane, before I pass the mic around to the rest of the crew here, I want to do the same thing with you. I want to go backwards from how you got to Carcerem, from where you started to playing Genie on Disney cruises and so on and so forth. Yeah, we're doing the deep dive today, man.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. Every time somebody asks me things and I start telling the stories, I'm like, what? How did... My life doesn't make any sense. If you pitched it as a movie, they'd be like, this is not believable. I mean... I grew up in Seattle, Washington. I went to high school with nobody that's in the entertainment industry now.
Nice.
So it really is not helpful. But I out of all the people, I went to a private high school that I graduated with like 52 people.
Everyone should be watching our YouTube one.
KFC Colonel over here is judging me.
Let's just say over here, he's, a family of doctors.
There
of
are
course
a
he went
lot
to a
of
private school.
doctors.
A lot of doctors.
Oh, yeah, specifically, yeah.
Okay, here's the thing about doctors, is they seem very intelligent because you don't know what they're talking about, but the secret is they don't know what they're talking about.
They're just good at that thing.
Well, I'm going to throw it out because you guys haven't brought it up. Shane's grandfather is Jonas Salk.
I was trying to leave the door open.
He won't talk about it, but I'm very impressed by that. His family. The polio vaccine. He invented the polio vaccine.
For
Shane,
free 90 free.
We'll talk about this after the show a little bit in depth.
And Shane's doing radio.
I did. I heard that we might have a connection there.
Yes.
Story.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about that a little later. But
so yes, I had a lot of doctors in my family. My brother is a genius. He created a way to do DNA sequencing that's like 2 billion times more efficient than what they were doing before. He almost got a perfect score in the SATs. I did not. But comparatively to, everybody I'm in the room with, I did really well in the SATs.
that's true.
Well, you took them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I didn't take them, so I have no idea.
I went to acting school. You didn't need the fucking SATs.
I went to acting school too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I went to Chapman University down in college, or in Orange County for theater. And even in high school, I did acting. But I also did, my brother actually, funny enough, did technical theater a little bit because he didn't want to be on stage and he had requirements. So
you said you did your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I caught that.
I was going to let it slide.
I'm glad that Bill's the one that called attention to it. I'm like,
my brother.
And edit in 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
So anyway, my brother did
Julie.
theater tech as well. No,
Leave it
I'm
in.
seeing a lot of no's.
Yeah.
We're just telling our editor not to take it out.
Yeah. So I did theater tech there. So when I went to school, you weren't allowed to be in shows for the first semester. So my first week of orientation, I went to the theater and I said, hey, I can do tech theater. And so I started doing tech theater as well. So throughout my college experience, I was acting. I was in a number of shows. I was in an improv group that did really, really well. But I was also producing and I was also doing technical theater and all that kind of stuff. So when I graduated, I very quickly got very tired of having to get other people to do things for me. If I wanted to make a film or if we did We're Alive, we started doing We're Alive within a few months or within a year anyway of me graduating because we had access to a studio. And my background with all this audio stuff is I grew up listening to old-time audio shows, radio dramas, Gunsmoke, Dragnet,
Nice.
The Shadow.
Wow. It's a shadow.
The Shadow. And I mean, I could talk to you about hours about shows you've never heard of because unless you're 80 years old, why would you?
Yeah.
I knew.
You're closer to 80 than me.
I knew about it.
Well, that's why we get along really well.
Yeah, I know.
So I started producing out of school as well as acting and going to auditions and all these things pretty quick. We Were Alive started doing really well. It was a lot of work, but it started taking off about 3 to 6 months after we launched it. And we ran into some problems, internal working problems between creative stuff. But it was an amazing show for its time.
This is
Nobody had
before
done-
Walking Dead.
This was before Walking Dead. A lot of
Before
people
Josh's favorite thing.
Well, it was funny because when Walking Dead came out, I started getting a lot of interview questions and stuff about, did you just take Walking Dead? And I had to go, well, go back and look at when Walking Dead existed. I mean, the comic books were out, I believe, before us, but the TV show didn't. So I literally remember going to Barnes & Noble at the Grove here in L.A. and reading the comic books so I didn't have to buy them so I could talk about them and tell them how we were different than The Walking Dead story-wise.
I mean, I think the thing you really struck gold with was the fact that it was zombie apocalypse in long form. Before that you had George A. Romero, you had Dawn of the Dead, you had maybe some Resident Evil. That was the closest thing, but this was a first time a toned down to earth story of people trying to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with Carcerem, like with any good series, it really doesn't have to do with the zombies. It doesn't have to do with those elements of it, those gimmicks. It has to do with the relationships of the characters.
Right.
So that's what we focused on. We created rules for the world that we stuck by, and we go, okay, what are the rules? We don't have to put them out to everybody, but we need to know what we're following. We need to know. I mean, because Lost had just ended as well, so many people were pissed with the ending of Lost that we were like, well, we need to know where this is going.
Yeah.
You got to be a plotter, not a pantser.
Exactly. So we outlined, one season very well, and then 4 seasons minorly, and then when we got to the second season, we kept adding more and more details, but we knew where it was going.
Right.
And because we focused on the characters is really why I think we did well. And we were very lucky because there was already a built-in audience for zombies. And because zombies at that time, right before Walking Dead, zombies had this big resurgence.
Yeah.
Which it hadn't sort of seen in
they're zombies.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it had Dawn of the Dead,
They always
Snyder's
Exactly.
Dawn of the Dead really kind of reignited what zombies could be.
And in my opinion, they kind of hit the last resurgence was after Michael Jackson's music video, Thriller.
Oh, yeah.
So since then, there was kind of they existed, but then we got lucky because they hit really hard right when we were launching that stuff.
That's great.
But yeah.
There you go.
Any other question, Caitlin?
Well, I mean, I was going to say, because Corey mentioned the genie, so right after we...
That's what I wanted to hear about.
Yeah. So I was auditioning for parts and stuff in LA, and I had met Bill a little bit before this because, again, We're Alive was going through some stuff. And I went to an audition that my manager had set up for me for Disney Cruise Line for the Genie. It was a brand new boat. They'd never had Aladdin on a ship before or anything like that. And I remember walking into that audition going, I'm not a 35-year-old fat guy. I was 26 at the time. I was like, there's no way I'm getting this. So I go in, the casting director liked me, had me sing and all this stuff, and then I left and I came back for a callback. And I was like, why? Why would you do this? I had seen it at Disneyland and all this stuff, and they had me in that callback room for an hour and a half to 2 hours. At one point, they were like, do you need to get some water? And I was like, I really do. So I left. The moderator was like, okay, next person. I was like, no. I need to go back. I just need some water because I'm dying because they've had me do Friend Like Me 12 times.
Wow.
And anyone that knows me is I don't do anything calmly. So I did as
Exhibit
much
A.
of Yeah, I did as much of the genie from the movie as I could, and it was a lot of energy.
That's why I poured whiskey into him.
It calmed me down.
I have gotten a hold of some of the footage of it, and I have to say it's pretty great. You did really, really well in that. I was very impressed.
I think so too.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm very impressed. That is not an easy character to nail.
No, and I got into a lot of fights with Disney about it, actually, because they wanted me to be like, just stand there and just say the lines. I was like, have you seen the movie? I'm not going to do that. First day of rehearsal, they sat me down because there were 2 shows that I was a genie in. One was Aladdin, and one was something called Believe, which was sort of like a Christmas Carol sort of thing, where a father has to believe in magic, and I come and teach him. And the first day of rehearsal, the director goes, he had been doing Disney for a long time. He had directed shows, and he goes, just so you know, we don't expect you to be Robin Williams. Like, there's only one Robin Williams. And I go, with all due respect, I'm going to do the best I can.
Yeah.
He's like,
admirable,
okay.
sir, admirable.
Well, it was you and Robin and Dan Castellaneta did a video.
He did the
portion.
The second one, Return of Jafar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in good company.
Yeah,
you are.
I feel like I did very
Homer
well.
Simpson.
And now Will Smith.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about him.
Yeah.
But-
And then
I mean, the other guys are pretty good, but
just to put a bow on this, how did you two
Get married.
come together to be married in partnership?
Wow.
It was
Tinder.
Tinder.
That's
I was
great.
swiping.
Do you know which way to swipe?
No, I have no idea.
Neither do I, Bill. Neither do I.
I was pretty impressed that I said swipe.
I know, I was really proud.
Yeah,
Appreciate
that's
it.
great.
You want to
You got
swipe
the
up.
reference.
That's a super.
So
Well, he came to me through Bob Burgin, right?
So Bob Burgin, I got through a connection. One of the cast members had a connection with Bob Burgin, and so said, "Hey, reach out to him or his agent or something." And I did, and we got him for We're Alive. He played Skittles on We're Alive, and I was just so grateful. So I kept emailing, going, "Thank you so much." And I said, "Can I take you to drinks and stuff?" And he's such a super nice guy. And so he invited me to something he used to do called Vox on the Rocks.
Vox on the Rocks.
Oh
He
yeah,
did with Bill.
Yeah.
they had one of those last year.
I mean, it was Bob's thing, but I was always there because there was a lot of drinking involved.
Mhm.
So Vox on the Rocks was something that Bob and I would kind of be at all the time. And for me, it was a social thing, but it was all these voiceover people. And again, people would come to me as the voiceover doctor and go, "Hey, are you the guy who makes demos? Are you the guy who has class?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." "Hey, can we talk about that?" And I would usually go, "Yeah, no, because we're socializing and we're having a martini, and I'm not that interested in doing business right now. So talk to me later when I'm sober." And young Shane came up to me.
Insider thing. You got to catch the windows because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. It's kind of a Dean
sober.
Martin thing. I really don't drink that much.
No, it doesn't.
But Shane came up to me. I'll let you tell the story because you always say I tell the story wrong. So
Well,
you tell the
okay,
story.
it's just get him. So I went up to him and Bob introduced me and we started talking and he's like, "Yeah, just come, talk to me. Let's set up a thing and come talk to me about a demo or something." And I said, "Okay." So I went, I met up with him and we talked a little demo and I said, "Well, can I just pick your brain about some stuff?" He goes, "Yeah, sure. Take me to lunch." I go, "Great."
Take me to Goat-Go's.
No, we went to
Good
Thai.
goes.
We went to Thai.
We went to Thai.
We went to Thai.
We went to Thai.
See, I don't know the story.
We went to Thai. I remember these
Thai.
things very well. It was
Okay.
very emotional in my life.
Aw.
I journaled about it later. None of that's true.
Unfortunately, I have no memory of any of
So we're sitting there and we're just talking about stuff. And I was doing We're Alive and it was going through some stuff. And I had always wanted to do an audio drama version of A Christmas Carol. For a number of reasons, I just always loved the story. It was something that doesn't get old. Like,
It's classic.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
So,
Evergreen,
do-
as they say.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to get out of date. So even if it
Everlasting.
fails, it can come back. So we're sitting there and I'm talking to him. I said, "Have you ever thought about producing?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll produce whatever. I made this movie. Here, watch this movie." And I was like, thank God I hadn't watched the movie before I agreed to any of this. It's actually a very good movie. And he goes, I said, "Well, how much money would we need to make this Christmas Carol thing?" And he goes, $5,000.
Yeah.
I go, "Okay. I'll
think
see
I
what I
said
can do."
10.
10?
I think I said 10.
Save 10.
I got And again, we're eating.
Yeah,
I'm eating lunch. He's like, "Yeah, I want to do this radio thing." You know, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, big, medium, okay, great, yeah, sure." And then he's like, "Well, I don't know, $10,000."
Yeah.
And I said, "You go find $10,000. I'm your man." And I thought, I'm never going to see this guy again because who's going to find 10 grand to make radio? You know. Well, this guy.
Yeah. We had made
That should
my
be on your
demo
business
or
card.
something, and I think I called him one day. I go, "Hey, I've raised 5. I'm working on the rest. Can we get started?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, okay, yeah, sure." And one of the stories I've heard is he was in a meeting with somebody else at the time, and he hangs up the phone and just looks at him and goes, "Apparently, I'm doing radio now. I don't
producing radio."
Sounds about right.
I didn't know who I was.
Now, the way I remember the story. Okay,
What
I like
happened?
this.
hear my
We get
version of it because
Rashomon.
and I still think this is true. I still think it's true.
I believe you.
I do some classes at my studio here called Margaritas, Mojitos, and Microphones.
Yep.
And where we have guest directors come in. And this particular night, I had Maurice LaMarche. And
Shout out.
And yeah, okay. Do you have to say that every time?
We
Yes,
do. It's
yeah.
a thing. It's like
Oh,
swiping.
okay.
You'll get it.
And okay. Does this mean I'm dating Mo now?
I think
Yeah.
so.
So
unfortunately.
Marisa Marsh and Rob Paulson had come in to run this workshop for me. They were very
Pinky in the brain.
yeah.
You dropped this name.
Oh, sorry. and so they were doing the thing, and Shane actually signed up and was taking the workshop. And I remember it as that's when he came to me and said, "Hey, I've raised about $8,000 or $9,000. Can we start working on this show?" And I think I said, "What show? What are you talking about?" He goes, "That radio thing, the Scrooge thing." And I go, "Oh, fuck, you found money? Okay." And I remember looking at Mo saying, "Hey, Mo, would you like to be Scrooge in a radio drama? I'm going to produce it. It's SAG. It's all legit." And he goes, "Yeah, can Rob be in it too? Can we do it together?" I'm like, "Sure. Bring another Emmy Award-winning actor along. Why not?"
Why don't you?
Please. And Rob goes, I said, "Rob, who do you want to be?" He goes, "Oh, can I be Marley?" I go, "You're Marley. Fine." And then I look at the way I remember it. I look at Shane and I go, "Okay, I just cast it. Go find the rest of the money."
Wow.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
And frankly, either version is equally hilarious.
I like,
Great.
I like
love
my
both
version better.
stories.
We could find a
Because I
happy
think
medium
it's
between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
And
somewhere.
it was very nice. Those guys were incredibly generous with their talents.
And they're so funny. We have
we have a lot of
hours-
footage of those
hours
guys.
of behind the scenes because
Yeah.
what we would do, we
We
had
do.
them come in. Yeah, Tom has seen it.
Yeah.
We had them come in together, and
They were the only two that we had come in together.
yeah,
Because they wanted to work together.
yeah. So we had them come in together,
Like they're friends or
and
something.
Rob ended up being Cratchit as well.
because we actually offered it to Bob Burgin, and Bob Burgin had some other obligation, so he couldn't do Cratchit.
Emmys and stuff.
Yeah. So I kind of said to Rob, I go, "Hey Rob, you want to do Cratchit?" Again, my whole thing of producing is, I don't know. Do you guys want to do this even?
I don't know, man. Somehow talking people into
Pretty
it.
passive producer.
Yeah, everybody thinks I'm this amazing producer. I'm just like, "Hey, my friends, please do something." And so he wound up doing that too.
But,
and,
I mean,
we had this young guy. He was an intern at the time at our studio. His name was Gio Ortega, and he's a big time
Oh, yeah.
music producer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gio.
Yeah, Gio. But I just remember looking at Gio saying, he goes, "Hey man, how do you want me to, slate all these?" I said, "Look, man, you just start rolling. These guys are going to say things that we want to keep. So just start rolling, and we'll sort through it all later. Just don't stop rolling, And it was really an amazing afternoon.
It really was.
It was a lot of fun.
It was almost a master class in something. It was.
I mean, we have footage
Something.
we have footage of Maurice doing Scrooge as William Shatner, Peter Falk, Orson Welles. He's going through his litany of voices, doing the lines, doing all the Scrooge lines.
Brilliant.
And I was in heaven. I was in heaven.
It really
man.
was
so
the
much fun.
greatest, one of the greatest days.
You have to understand, guys. I grew up again, we mentioned this. I grew up in Gurnee, Illinois, this little town, and I would watch cartoons on Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had children, and they would watch all their little cartoons when they were little kids and stuff. So when I moved to L.A. and I got into the voiceover business, and I worked at a casting studio, I was a kid in a candy store because these guys would walk in, and I knew all of them, and I knew guys. You know, what I like is I like character actors. So I knew guys who had bit parts and bit roles on different shows and stuff. And they were always amazed when I would go, oh, wait a minute, man. You were the guy on Bewitched when Tabitha turned her toy flying saucer into a real flying saucer. You were a dog being who liked pancakes. That was a guy named Steve Frank. And I go, you in Hamilton Camp? And he goes, I remember Steve looking at me going, oh, you're and so when I met Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson and all those guys, they were coming in doing their thing. I would immediately look at Mo and go, okay, Mo, before the audition, do Orson. Okay, now do Shatner. Now do Jack Palance. Now do, and he would just go. And again, these guys love doing it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize because Rob is one of the nicest guys as well.
Absolutely.
And I was talking to him, and do you remember it was years ago. There was a car thing where it was, it was a cartoon and it was, hi, I'm Mr. Opportunity and I'm knocking.
Oh,
yes.
It was a Honda.
Yes.
He wrote that and was that voice. And the minute he said that to me, I was like, oh my God. I know everything about you.
I got another good one. I don't know how far back your listeners go, but this old guy comes into the booth one time and I'm directing him on some commercial. And he's old and he's got a toupee. He's probably about near 80 years old, I think. And his name is John Stevenson. And again, you hear the name John Stevenson, you don't think of anything. And as soon as this guy opens his mouth.
I think of a made-up name.
Yeah. As soon as he starts talking, I go, oh my God, you're Mr. Slate from the Flintstones.
Whoa.
And he goes, yes, I am. I go, hey, man, you got to fire me. Fire me, man. And he goes, what? I go, fire me. He goes, Holmes, you're fired. I go, all right, I can die and go to heaven. Mr. Slate fired me like Fred Flintstone.
Well,
and it was just so much fun for me.
And he knew Neil from years, Neil Flynn.
Neil Flynn and I knew each other back in high school.
I didn't know, but I watched Scrubs. He was the janitor on Scrubs, and I watched all of it.
Yeah.
So, and he came in. I think I've told you this. I don't know if you remember. So we had met about Christmas Carol, and he's like, I call my buddy Neil, and he'll do something. I'll ask him, or blah blah blah. So later that week, I was still doing No, I wasn't doing improv.
Well, Neil played the Christmas Present.
He played Christmas Present.
Christmas Present.
And I was going to some event at Improv Olympics West, IO West, which doesn't exist anymore. But I was going to see a friend, and I knew that his old improv team, which was Beer Shark Mice, was supposed to be performing or something that night. That's what it's called, Beer Shark Mice. It was Neil and a bunch of other people you'd know.
Pete Holney.
Yeah. So I'm standing there. I'm like, oh man, if I could run into Neil, that would be great. I would be like the best producer ever because I'd be like, hey. So I don't see him. I don't see him at all. Blah blah blah. So I'm leaving, and I literally look over and I see him walking across the street, going to IO. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? So I run. I go, Mr. Flynn, Mr. Flynn. And he stops and he turns around and looks at me. And go, hi, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Just want to say hi. My name is Shane. Maybe Bill Holmes has talked about me. We're doing a Christmas Carol thing, and he just goes, no. It's like, well, you have a good night, and just like walks away.
I mean, even if I had talked to him, he probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
He's very much like the janitor on Scrubs.
Yeah.
So, but when he came in here to do that, and I mean, I've been lucky enough to have lunch with him and stuff. For the first little while, I was definitely starstruck. And I freaked him out once or twice when we were just sitting around talking or having lunch, and he'd be like, and there was this episode of Scrubs where I said something like there was a song about a drill. And I go, yeah, this is the song. This is the bit. This is what you did. And it was like eating, and he's like,
drill and
no.
fork and drill.
Exactly. I literally sang him the song. He's like, oh. Yeah, that's.
He's got a very dry sense of humor. I think Bill told the story once of him you introduced him at some sort of, forget what it was.
It was the voiceover doctor show.
Yeah, that's what it was. And you're like, I've known him for a long time.
Well, my favorite Neil story when it comes to fans, there was some woman who saw him and she goes, I know you, you're on TV. And he said, he always likes to call his fans on it. He goes, yeah, what did I do? And she goes, you're on that show, Malcolm in the Middle. And he goes, no, you're half right. She goes, Malcolm? No, I'm on
50-50 chance. 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say it's all about taking risks because when we were asking him to do Carcerem,
oh yeah,
he was nervous because the way that he's on the box for Christmas Carol and he's very he doesn't realize how good he is to me,
and he doesn't like a lot of attention. It seems to me.
So we're sitting there and he's talking about how it made him a little uncomfortable and stuff like that. And again, we're trying to get him into Carcerem, and I took this risk, which to me was one of the scariest things ever. And he's talking, and I go, well, look, Neil. And I start talking about like the things that he does and how good he is, but how he feels about himself is not really how other people feel about him. And he has to understand how other people really feel about him. And I go, and so Neil, you got to realize you're a piece of shit. And we're in the middle of this restaurant, and and in my head, I'm like sweating. I'm going, he's either never gonna do our stuff, or he's gonna like me now. And he just goes, wow, okay.
And he was in.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there. There's this like half second of silence where everybody kind of hears what you said, and and you're just
kind of free falling.
You're living in the echo of
it's
what
the
you said.
scariest moment ever, but it worked out well.
I made a huge mistake.
He's a very kind and
he's a very
generous
nice guy.
person,
Yeah.
and just having grown up with him and stuff and worked with him on stage, he is genuinely one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. I just love being around him.
Since you're gushing about people that you've worked with, people that you're a fan of, I kind of have to gush about Bill for a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. How do you guys know each other?
Because, like, whether or not you meant to, you have utterly changed my life in LA. Like, if put in the cute, sad music here. But like, the reason I'm part of Nerd On is actually because of you.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
So you have been my like voiceover mentor. You're the reason I've gotten as far as I have. You're the reason that I've done a lot of the things I have. Not to say that I'm not putting in my own work, everything else, but like I met Dana and then was part of PAs and then met Corey and Tom because of you.
Well,
and
that's kind of you to
you've
say.
always been so encouraging.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was like,
so no royalties.
Don't pay Bill any royalties though.
Yeah, no royalties, but
yeah, maybe if you give me 10% of everything you make. I mean,
yeah, we can
great.
talk about
seems
that
about
another
fair.
time.
Just of what
get
she
it for a bottle of
made.
tequila.
Possibly, yeah. I'm
Weird,
just gonna
the
send you
connection
tequila and
is
say
a
that I
little
paid you.
Yeah. You guys still there?
But no, it's like you get excited about other people and like you get excited about creating, but you're so supportive of creative people and wanting to help them do the best that they can at storytelling and finding themselves and characters and themselves just in real life. So I have to just get excited about you, Bill, because you're just a wonderful person.
That's very kind, and we can stop talking about that.
I figured that's what you'd say. So can't really deflect with humor on that, can you?
You know, Caitlin, is that your name, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Here it is.
I've spent years getting people to believe I'm just a drunk. So.
Yeah.
That's the secret. That's
I know.
that's
I'm
Drunken
sorry.
Master.
I pulled back the curtain a little bit, so we'll put it right back. You're right.
Gotta leave that persona up for the match game.
That is very, very nice. I really appreciate it, and we don't call it the match game ever.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man.
We'll cut that out.
It's the answer you wrote on your card the same answer?
The answer that you wrote on your card the same as the answer that I wrote on my card because that's an original show.
Yeah.
That was. Go on Facebook, Compost Productions.
Yeah.
Compost Productions, home of the voiceover doctor.
If you watch
every Friday,
7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard.
If you watch the cold opens with your character from Fallout, you'll see what happens if you call it the other one.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
And speaking of, like, you guys have, been on plenty of awesome projects as well, but turning it into like where we're going to start talking about Carcerem, you guys have mentioned working with, Bob Burgin, Maurice LaMarche, Rob Paulson. And Bill, you kind of like pulled the veil back a little bit of working in a casting studio. If everyone goes at home, plays the Nerd On game, goes to the Carcerem, theseries.com/cast page, you could see the huge ensemble of people. What has this process been like to bring everyone in? Because also in terms of, tooting a little bit of the Bill Holmes horn, because of you, we had one of our guests, Steve Rudnick, on. And then, before this, we had Bob Burgin.
He was my mentor back then.
Yeah. So what's it kind of like, bringing all these wonderful talents that obviously you guys have been fans of, but now are working
wonderful talents that you brought in.
I mean,
What's it like?
Caitlin is in the show.
That's all we can say.
I've just been very lucky over the years to have worked with, I think, some of the finest people in show business, really. Steve Rudnick and I, we used to drive limos together in Chicago. That's how I met Steve. We were driving limos, and he was doing comedy. He was on your show. The Steve and Leo show was huge back then, and he taught me everything I needed to know about the comedy business and working clubs. I used to tour the Midwest working clubs with a guy named Lou Schneider. And Lou is now a producer on the Goldbergs, and he directs episodes. He was a producer on Everybody Loves Raymond and things like that.
He's in our show too, actually.
And he did a little thing. He happened to be in the studio, so we threw him in the background of something.
Wow.
Bunch of people yelling, Lou's in there. And and that just came of Lou was in a comedy group with me at the time, and I took him out to this comedy club called Who's On First that Steve and Leo used to run the new talent night, we would call it. And then
in Chicago?
And we would do improvs out in Chicago. And, I was saying to Steve, I was thinking of doing stand-up myself. And he saw me and Louie together. He goes, why don't you be a comedy team like me and Leo? And we're like, yeah, okay, let's just do that. And so we did it for a couple of years successfully. And then
a couple of years unsuccessfully, right?
Then Lou dumped my ass and became a billionaire. And then I hooked up with Chip Hammock and then Neil Flynn and all these guys in the comedy world. But I've just been really lucky to have known a lot of people, and the casting place that I worked at was the predominant casting place in Los Angeles. And it really was just a fun time. Every day, a bunch of your friends came in for 5 minutes and 10 minutes at a time, and we fucked around all day, and we would go to lunch. And so when it comes
to a lot what we do now,
it is very much what we do. But I mean, again, when it came to Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson and Jane Lynch and all these people that we've been fortunate enough to get on our show, it wasn't like we were all really good friends going out to lunch and doing things. We were acquaintances. We were working acquaintances, and they knew me and I knew them. But I knew them well enough to say, hey, man, I'm doing this project. Would you come in and do me a favor? And the voiceover community, especially in Los Angeles, is the most generous and fun bunch of people you will ever meet in your life. We were down at Comic-Con, and we talked to Tom Kinney, and we've talked to many people of that caliber. And they always just look at you and go, hey, man, if you're ever working on a project, you need help, just let me know. But just if I do it, just know that I want to do it forever with you.
Those favors.
So they'll do the favors and stuff. And I mean, we kind of snuck into Comic-Con last year.
Nice.
To bump into Mo and Rob so we could say, hey, man, you want to come do another thing with us?
A little heist, a little Inception heist.
Well, they had done Christmas Carol with us, and we just thought, well, let's go to Comic-Con, see who we can run into and see who is willing to do this before we put money into it. And I literally, what is it, Disenchantment?
Yeah.
I literally Mo was doing the Disenchantment. They were
Panel.
Introducing the
I think
panel.
they were was it the trailer? They showed the trailer.
No,
and then
it
they
was
had
the
a panel?
pilot. They were showing the pilot for the first time ever to whatever 2,000 people in this room, and we couldn't get in. I have a friend who got us into Comic-Con, but we didn't have tickets, anything or whatnot. We were just kind of crashing everything, and so I was standing by this exit door. And again, these guys are treated like Elvis, I mean, at Comic-Con. I mean, everybody's trying to get a piece of him. And I'm just standing there, and somebody came out, and the guard was not looking, and I just slipped in. I just slipped,
Wow.
slipped into
Mission
to the thing.
Impossible.
And it really was, because I think you turned around and was like, where the hell did Bill go? And I call Shane, I get in there, I get on my phone, I go, I'm in, man. I'm in.
So
And
he's in the place, and I'm guarding basically the exit,
the
where
exit.
I knew the actors were going to be coming out in case they bolted before the audience came out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm trying to get Mo's attention because we know each other, and I'm thinking, I'll just grab his, and he's like Elvis. They're rushing him out and rushing here, and we finally. Being inside meant nothing really, and I come back out to Shane, and Shane's like, "Did you talk to him?" I'm like, "No, I couldn't get anywhere near him." Yeah, I mean, they got security like crazy, and then they come rushing out, like politicians out of the State House, and I see Mo, and I go, "Hey, Mo!" And he's like, "Hey, Bill." I'm like, "Hey, you want to do our little show? Yeah, talk to me later. I'm a little busy."
But he said, "Yeah."
Wow.
Wow.
There was a yes in
and
there.
then I was able to get to him later, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do your little show." And then we happened to run into Rob Paulson. Rob was at
that was at New
signing
York
thing.
Comic Con. That was New York Comic Con.
No.
Was it there too?
Yeah, Rob.
Oh, okay.
Rob was in
Comic
LA.
Cons get me off.
Yeah,
no,
we
that's
were-
what I meant. I'm sorry, LA Comic Con, not
LA
San Diego.
Comic-Con. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
No. It was. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not pertinent.
Comic-Con.
It's the
But anyway,
Fortaleza.
he was at some signing autograph thing, and we just we saw him, and some fan was gnawing at his ear, and he saw me, and he wanted to get away from that fan, and he's like, "Hey, Billy, how you doing, man? Hey, we're doing a thing." He's like, "I'd love to do it. Just give me a call anytime." So
I like how everyone's voices get a little higher
leave.
every time.
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Well, and then
Yeah.
I mean that at the Comic Con, that's where we saw Tom Kinney as well, and then we went to his concerts. I mean, we know Richard Horvitz really well, but he was there. It was one of the best weekends.
Yeah, we were just
it was
drinking
so
and having a good
much
time
fun.
and goofing with
running
people,
into all
so-
these people, but we were working.
So to get back to your original, I mean, I've just been very fortunate to have had the opportunity to direct a lot of people, mainly for auditions when they were auditioning, and they've been kind enough that when I have a project, they've done the projects with us, and they thought that they were quality projects, so they're always willing to come back. And it's been really, really, we've been very fortunate to have that.
And I'll say, I mean, Bill has done more amazing things than he'll even tell you about.
Really have
See,
done.
Yep.
and I am
every time.
fortunate. I'm fortunate enough to be able to keep up with him. Just be like, well, I can't do what you do all the time, but the things that I bring hopefully don't diminish Bill.
No, you know what? I'm going to turn it back on him because Shane is just like a bad episode of The Tonight Show. It's like, this man gives half of his income to charity every year, ladies and gentlemen. He's a beautiful person.
Look, if I gave half my income to charity, I'd have to get charity to survive.
No, my point is, Shane, and I want everybody out there to know what an amazing visionary Shane Salk is, okay? Because I'm the first guy who said, radio? Yeah, let's go to radio, because I think that was done in the 30s, okay? He's always come to me with these projects that I have poo-pooed and said, yeah, fine, go find the money, I'll do it, but, why the fuck are we doing this even, And this experience with Carcerem has really turned me around. Yeah, because even Christmas Carol, I thought, who gives a shit about this stuff anymore? And we made it as best we could, and I'm very proud of it. I think it's a really good product. We won some awards with it and stuff, because when we take on a project, we try to do the best we possibly can. But people have been showering me with a lot of praise, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much. It's very nice.
But I like Shane more, just to let you know.
Wow.
Everybody
Wow.
does. Everybody
does.
Just so you know, Tom, I signed the checks too. So
This is true. Everyone
We gave him a
listening,
pen that doesn't work. Don't worry about it.
pulling the veil back. Corey and
but
I have been working on all like these social media things.
Yeah.
So there's a healthy relationship between all of us.
There's a healthy
Good.
relationship.
Good.
Josh?
But let me finish by saying Shane Salk, he conceived this idea of Carcerem, and we have another show that we're working on called Hawk. He conceived these ideas. He's been passionate about this medium, which I until now I didn't really understand. I totally understand it now. I know the kids love this stuff, and that's why
They swipe right all the time.
Right.
he came to me. Here's the other part of the story that we haven't told really. He kept coming to me saying, I want to do this thing. I want to do this thing. Can you get it made? And I said, yeah, dude, I can get it made. You go find the money. I can get it made. I know how to get it made. But until you come up with some ideas and the story and stuff, yeah, I've got other things I'm doing. But he did. He stayed with it. He was passionate about it. The seed of the idea, it came from his brain, not mine. I'm very good. What I'm very good at is here's the idea. Can we make this idea? Here's how much money we have. Can we make it with that much money?
Turn it to reality.
Yeah, and I'm very good at like,
The execution
we can
of
fucking
it.
do that. Yeah, let's fucking do this, you know? But again, this all came from Shane Salk. Carcerem is Shane Salk. And I know in all the interviews and that we've been doing and stuff, people have been saying, well, how's Bill to work with? And what's it like working with Bill and stuff? But you guys got to understand, I'm the man behind Shane Salk, okay? Shane is a guy who is most of the time going, no, you stupid idiot. It's this. And I go,
Can
oh,
confirm.
really?
Have seen
Oh,
multiple
is that-
times.
Oh, is that what you were having?
about right.
Okay, well, yeah, let's go that way.
My point of starting the thing was going, Bill knows a lot of people and it's great.
Yeah.
But we're both very aware that we're not giving people what they're worth. And I honestly think that one reason why we're getting such high talent, high performances out of
Value.
people, production, aside, Bill knows these people, but when they come in, we really go, look, we need you to have fun. If you're not having fun, you can leave. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's no ego involved. And that's how we get these performances. This project is so much fun when we have people come into the studio or nowadays do it remotely. That's why I think we can get these high quality people.
And again, I'm going to throw out a name here, Jojo Henriksen. He's our head writer and one of the producers on the show as well. Jojo has there's films, Ladrón que roba a ladrón, the Barrio Murders, things like that. Go look it up out there, kids. But he is one of the best storytellers in the business. And he and I worked on Stump the Band together and several other films that he's conceived. And so I don't want this to go without him.
For sure.
He's the guy we pulled in to keep the story on track. And he's one of the best writers I know. And also Laura Davey and Aaron Castellan and Luke
McKinley and George Ackles.
and George Ackles are all part of George Ackles was instrumental in helping us create the world. You know, when we said to George, "Hey man, you want to come in and write this with us?" He goes, "Not really write. I don't have time to write, but I really enjoy creating the worlds."
World building. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that's not my thing. That is not what I do. So that's where I'm saying it's this world of Carcerem came out of this guy's head, and then he spewed things out of his.
Yeah.
It was just pouring out of his ears and his nostrils. And
But it takes a village, essentially.
It does take a village.
We have
This was-
amazing people who are getting
Yeah.
way less than they deserve.
Josh,
Josh?
I just want to interject real quick because we keep
Yeah.
talking around Carcerem.
Yeah.
Can we actually like, what is it? So our audience knows. Like, what is Carcerem? Because we're talking a lot around it.
So everyone at home, listen, you got all hyped up for it. Now here it is.
Yeah, here it is.
Get
Can I
the
leave
cell.
and go to the bathroom?
He's not quite sure what it is. That's why he
You talk about it. I'll be right back.
Okay. He actually has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Carcerem is an audio series. We have, in the first season, we have 32 episodes. It is a fantasy series. In this world that we've created, magic is outlawed. It's banned. Years and years and years ago, it was embraced, and there were these people that kept the land safe, and everybody was happy. But we jump into this world now, and all of that, we don't know if that past world was even real.
It's like mythological at this point.
Yeah, and there are these people called vigils who are basically state-run vigilantes. Okay. Yeah, enforcers who come, and if anybody sees or senses or reports magic, they come and they steal kids away, kill people, all this stuff. There's really no overwatch, so some are terrible, some are, have morals. And there's this prophecy that has been passed down through generations, and we follow these people who are, a horrible thing happens to them, and they decide it's time to go out and see if they can get this prophecy to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Boom.
Very cool.
It's like a mix.
Boom.
There's
Mic
humor
drop.
in it. Mic drop. It's sort of a mix between Lord of the Rings and Princess Bride.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, accurate.
That's the
Perfect.
elevator pitch right there.
And
There you go.
There it
elevator
is.
I think it was briefly mentioned that it comes out in September.
September
Yes.
22nd, which is also both of our birthdays.
Oh, that's
Wow,
We
that's
share a
romantic.
birthday.
It's my wife's birthday as well.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Romantic
Birthday
AF.
inception.
Well, she can come to the
I'm
party.
surprised she's not working on the show.
She is a voiceover actress.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get her ass in here.
You're gonna hear Bill say, "Hey, do you want to?" I don't know.
And where
Use the Bill Holmes
will
approach.
it be?
So
Where can
it
people
will
watch
be
it? Or listen to it.
Listen to it. You can find it on any of the normal places you find podcasts, Stitch, iTunes, all of those places. But you can also get updates on any of our social media platforms, which are all at Carcerem the Series.
Nope.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is at Carcerem S. Because they don't allow you to have more letters than that.
Which is
Yeah.
stupid.
That makes sense.
But they got
That's
they got
what
like
the S
videos, behind the scenes videos, interviews. The trailer dropped, which is a lot of
Trailer
fun.
drop. And carceremtheseries.com. You will also be able to find it there and all the other information.
For our audience who are like, really deep dive into lore and stuff like that, what is Carcerem? What does the Carcerem, the word, mean for in context of this world?
In context of this world, you sort of find out
Unless we
later on.
Don't want to give too much.
Yeah.
But the word Carcerem in general in old Latin means prison.
Is that different from New Latin?
Yes.
Okay.
New Latin.
Well, the old Latin was the Old Testament, and
Yeah.
the New Latin
Gotcha.
is like the New Testament.
Wow.
Got an update.
cool,
Got a
cool.
software update.
Seems to be a lot of English words in here.
The
Yeah.
New Latin
Gotcha.
is that ipse, pate, trate, pig Latin stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you can't call it pig Latin because that's not politically correct anymore. So
Swine
it's
Latin?
called New Latin. Swine Latin?
Why? Because pigs were
No, because
offended?
Jews don't eat pig. So
Oh.
Well,
I wouldn't have gone there.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
improv.
Wait a minute. Jews don't eat pigs? Wait a second.
This will be the last question. Or go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, oh no, go ahead. I was gonna wrap it
Have
up.
we started yet? Is
Oh,
this interview started?
This, yeah, we're about to start. Just
show
one more
started?
question before we start the interview here. What if you were to be speaking to a newfound audience? What will separate this series from anything else?
I asked this question to them during an interview, and then Shane literally had the same.
Because I only ask that. I only ask that because I know we say it's not an audio drama; it's audio series for a reason. I just wanted
Well,
to know if you could
it's
go
not,
into that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been saying lately, my daughter came up with the phrase, it's not your average audio drama.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, we don't even call it an audio drama. We call it an audio series.
Right.
Because it's what we're trying to do and what we're hoping to do is to immerse the listeners in the story itself. We're not really here to tell a story. We're here to let people kind of experience the story.
Nice.
So if you were listening to Game of Thrones, just the audio of Game of Thrones, you would see it the way you want to see it, and that's really our goal.
Yeah.
Is to. It's interesting because we have a bunch of episodes made now, and we've been playing it just periodically for different people involved with the show, Well, I'll use my youngest son, Ian Holmes. He was listening to it in my office one day, and he's not really into too much of this stuff, and he's listening to it, and in the middle of it, he just kind of goes, "Oh, hey, Dad, it's like I'm reading a book. It's like I'm seeing all the pictures that I see in my head as if I were reading this in a book." And I go, "Yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to go for here."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." And then something happened out in our yard, and we had to stop and end it in the middle of it and stuff. And we went back in the house, and he brought it back up again, and he goes, "So, Dad, that thing I was listening to, that was pretty cool. Like I said, I really enjoyed seeing those pictures in my head." And I go, "Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it." He goes, "Yeah, so can I go listen to the rest of it?" I was thinking, well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I'll add into that too, because again, I came into the Shane Salk world because of We're Alive, and then since then, joining Nerd On, I've listened to Wolverine: The Long Night, which is a Marvel Stitcher collaborated thing, which is like this form audio series, and also Life After. So the ideology of being able to hear radio, hearing performance, creating an audio theater for the mind, isn't a new thing. And when people really start picking up on it, you realize how addicting it is, and how you're I want to get into it. And the characters all fill in your own pockets of your own imagination. So it's a wonderful experience. And if all our listeners might at this point have heard the trailer at this point, because that trailer is live, and you can get a good idea of what that is and how it's like it feels action. It feels like there's so much going on, but also just enough open space where you can fill in your own places into it.
Well, and go ahead.
I was going to say, and there's I'm sort of the lead component in not calling it an audio drama. Even 2 or 3 years ago, I was trying to come up with different phrasing of what this thing is, because when you hear audio drama, a lot of people get this idea in their head that go, "Oh, I know what that is." And they think of either an old-time radio show or some of the newer stuff, War of the Worlds, or even some of the newer stuff you hear as a podcast. They go, "Oh, it's an audio drama," and it's like it's ideas of environments, it's ideas of footsteps and things like that. And that's not what we're doing. That's why I call it an audio series. And sometimes they go, "Oh, okay, I get that," or they go, "I don't know what that means." And I go, "Well, until you listen to what we're doing, it's really hard to explain. You don't get the concept of the production value and the enormity of what we're doing. When you listen to a book on tape, you don't see the same pictures as if you're reading, because you're hearing this one person's voice. They're giving their interpretation of what the words are. So we took that idea and go, well, we're going to give you as much of the emotion and the feeling and the actual environment as we can, but you're going to be the one that sees the actual monsters, sees the fights, sees the special effects.
That's why people always go, "Yeah, the movie wasn't as good as the book." I didn't like the movie as much as I liked the book. And a good example is we had a name we haven't mentioned tonight is Townsend Coleman. Thanks. I didn't mean to drop it. But he was like the Tick. And he was a Ninja Turtle. He was Michelangelo on the Ninja Turtle.
We have a lot of people from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, a lot of turtles. A lot of turtles in the movie.
Pat Fraley.
Yeah, Pat Fraley.
Who was Krang.
Yeah. But Townsend and most of the actors have come to us and said, what kind of a voice do you hear for this person, this character? And we're always correcting them, saying, no voice. We don't want a voice. Again, it was so hard for me to convince Townsend, you know, how you're talking to me right now, dude, that's the guy. I mean, I called you in because this is the guy. You're the age of the guy, and you're this of the guy. And Neil did that to us too, to a point. He kept saying, "Don't you want Alec Rickman or Alan Rickman? Alan Rickman to do this?"
A type of voice. We are aware that he is no longer with us.
Yeah. And I was like, no. And so I've been explaining to all these actors that it's like, just think of it as if you're in a film and you're in this. I don't want a character per se. I want you to be the best actor that I know you are. Because again, as long as I've known Neil for over 40 years now. In fact, I knew Neil Flynn when he was shorter than me.
Oh, he's very tall. I'm 6'4", and he's taller than I am.
He's 6'6" now. And but I've seen, Neil started out in Chicago as a dramatic actor on stage, and he didn't do a lot of comedy back then, and so I saw him in roles, and I'd been on stage with him in performances that I knew what he could bring to it, And so when he kept saying, well, what kind of a voice, he literally said to us, I think you can find somebody better than me. And we were like, I don't think so, because I have you in my head as this guy. And when he just started being who he was within this character, and he just started doing these real subtle things that I knew he was capable of doing, it kind of gave us goosebumps, because we were like, oh, fuck, that's really good, man.
It's really interesting because
those click moments where you're like, oh, man.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna throw out Dana Powers, who you all know, okay? Corey's lovely wife.
My better half.
One of the reasons we went with Dana is because Dana has a lot of stage experience. She's a stage actress first, and she's done a lot of theater. Yes, mostly she does voiceover now and whatnot, but she's in that regard, I feel, and again, people like Maurice LaMarche and Rob Paulson, all those guys, they all paid their dues doing film and doing stage. And
stand-up comedy.
Mo started in stand-up comedy as an impressionist and comic. And I mean, I remember Mo as a comic back. I'm that old, and so young Dana Powers has taken this character of Aura. She plays this gal named Aura in our show, and she has given us some of the greatest performances I've seen, and it just happens to be in front of a stick, which I call the microphones. It happens to be in front of a stick, but the fun I've had with Dana is because, again, like you, Caitlin, Dana has been kind of one of my students, and I've helped her along in her career as well. The fun for me in the respect of directing her, especially in this project, is we both have a certain amount of trust with each other, as much of an asshole as I can be to people. And trust me, I am, and I know my faults. Dana trusts me when it comes to the business and when it comes to creating these moments for these characters. And I have total trust in her as a performer, as I do with Neil, and as I do with, when Pat Fraley came in, when Maurice came in, when Townsend Coleman came in, and all these people, and people like Dana, Phil Reich, we should throw his name out too.
Well, hold on, Bill. We're gonna go all day if we just name the entire cast.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
What I want people to do is be able to experience it. So we're gonna put up all the social medias, but also check out all the interviews where we do have a chance to talk to all of them and see you guys.
Mark your calendars for September 22nd.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you
and
for
share it.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
They're all great performances, is what I was.
Yes.
Thank you guys for taking the time to talk a little bit about the show.
Absolutely, anytime.
I'm excited about it. I don't know about the rest of the people. I can't speak for them. Caitlin has to be because she's in it.
Of course.
No, I've been excited since I read the whole script a long time ago.
Well,
early production.
Shane and Bill sent me, because they were interested in potentially hiring me as an editor. They had me edit something, and just based on that, what I heard, that was for something different, I believe.
That was Hawk.
Yeah, that's Hawk.
Yeah.
And you did nothing wrong, I swear to God.
It's cool. I mean, it's personal.
We ran out
It's
of
totally
Hawk money,
personal.
pal. We just ran out of Hawk money.
No,
it's all going into Carcerem.
what I'm trying to say is that was just a sample. It was 60 seconds. It was really cool. Just from that, and that's from another show. So I know that people are in for a treat. And I've been able to hang out with Shane, and I've met Bill a couple of times briefly in Amon's in Burbank.
Yes.
We met his wife there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It's nothing but going to be incredible. So
It's a ride.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it's
Thank you.
quality work.
We're scared to death, but we're very excited about it.
Yeah.
because
I've literally moved across the country twice, started a company, gone into debt to do all of this. So
Here we are.
I have very
we
little
appreciate
to lose
you.
at this point.
We appreciate you taking what time you have away from the show to be here today, and
we should
we're
go
looking
back
forward
to
to it. Yeah,
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
that's it.
Wasn't that fun?
That's not Josh's
That
way.
is Josh's way. He's been
No,
doing
he
this-
goes, "Thank you so much for what." That's you got to have the hand,
Well, he
the
just-
one hand.
Wasn't that
Oh, yeah.
amazing?
But
I had
coming out of
such
an
a great-
interview, I'll give him that, where it's like a very awkward like transition.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
It wasn't that great. Well, because it's
Now back
also
to
awkward
us.
in the edit because there's more people on the screen when there's guests. So Julie has to handle, how do I transition to more people?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank
so
you everybody so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I certainly did. Bill and Shane are good people, and everything that
So
they
good.
produce is just quality, because that's having to have brief conversations with them and about the stuff that they make. They take great care, and they want to create good shit, and they do.
Yeah,
Bill has given
I believe in Bill and Shane.
Bill has given me the
Same.
one compliment of seeing one of my productions and then hearing it. And I think this is the one. No, actually, it wasn't. I was going to say it wasn't the one that Josh and I worked on together and Corey, but it was one that Corey and I did work on. It was Bags and Buses. And he said it sounded really good. Then I was like, I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
But obviously, Half a Glass sounded amazing because Josh was a fucking engineer mastermind for audio. So
Oh, thank
Bill's
you for
like,
that, Tom.
I didn't know that.
He was like, Tom has a really good sound for ear for sound, and I was like, I'll just try to make sure good people are on.
When Bill brought up Bags and Buses to me, the one thing he said about it was, "I'm not wearing hockey
Oh
pads."
my God.
Resurrecting a fan favorite.
I couldn't help it. That was a good one.
I hope everyone enjoyed
Josh, I
that.
broke Josh.
I only just realized that you haven't said that in a while.
Couple months since the quarantine started, almost. Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a minute. Anyway, he did like it though. That was the whole point.
But yeah, everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. And like we have said many times in this episode, do check out Carcerem. September 22nd, 2020, a lot of twos.
That's right.
Do check that out. If you're new to Nerd On, welcome. Thanks for listening or watching if you are on YouTube.
There it is.
Check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all of the information of everything that we do, because we do a lot. We do have this podcast. We have a second show that we do every Tuesday that comes out, the Nerd On Update. We have the Capeless Crusaders that now does 2 episodes a month. Shout out to them. And we stream on Twitch, and we have YouTube content. We have a lot of stuff that we do, so check that out, nerdon.tv. Stop by, rate and review us, that kind of stuff. It not only helps us, but it also helps us feel good. We like that. It makes us, it's a nice, positive, warm hug. But yeah, we appreciate the reviews. We share them with each other. We share them on social media. Do all that kind of stuff. But share with your friends, your family, all that good stuff.
Your enemies.
But this has been Nerd on the Podcast. We love you all. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Stay hydrated.
You know the drill. As always, Nerd on.
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.